students, it's Mrs. Herman again. This is now your second year at in Design and Technology. It says DT31, which means the second year that you are doing Design and Technology, although you are in your third year. So let us just get on with it. The first one is safety precautions with hand tools. Now in the workshop you have electrical tools and then you have hand tools. Hand tools are like your hammer and those things that you use with your hands if it has nothing to do with electrical, if it has nothing to do with electricity. So let us jump right in. It says you must use the right tool for the right job, which means you cannot use a hammer if you are going to work with electrical equipment. How does it work? So you must use the right tool for the right job. Number 2 says you must place your tools in the center of the table. So don't put things on the edge of the table. It can fall off. Somebody can step on it or somebody can fall over it. Especially when we work in a Design and Technology class where there are a lot of tools. So you must teach the children to rather put the things in the middle so that it doesn't fall, and tools may never be on the floor because accidents can happen very soon. And then you must never carry sharp tools in your pocket. For example, don't use a saw in your pocket, even if it's a small one. Don't use a hammer in your pocket. It can fall out or it can break your pocket and it will hurt somebody. Don't use a screwdriver in your pocket. It can hurt you when you walk fast or when you trip over something, so be very careful. The next one is never use a hammer with a loose head. And that can happen easily. If the hammer has a loose head, rather take it out of reach and put it somewhere and say out of order so that everybody will know this one is not in use for the moment. And then make sure that you tell your teacher, if you are now in the class, the children must tell the teacher that the head is loose so that she can fix it as soon as possible or get a tool maker to fix it so the children don't have accidents with the hammer. The next one is be sure that your hands are clean. They must not be full of oil. They must not be full of grease. They must not be dirty when you work with tools. So make sure that when the children go into the workshop that they always wash their hands. There must be a basin in your workshop and everybody must clean their hands. It's not just because it's Corona or it's a COVID situation. In total, hands must be clean before tools are touched, and then tools must be placed where they found them. They must not lie around. And then the floor must also be clean. It must not be full of grease or oil or anything or water that children can slip on it. And then the last one, it says clear the work area before sewing. So if you're working with wood, then the area must be clean. There must not be oil or anything on the work surface that the table is now untidy and then they can't work there. So make sure that the floor, the surfaces around the area, the tables, everything must be clean, neat and tidy before they work and also after they work. Now we come to the challenges of being self-employed in Namibia. And you know this is my favorite, ne? I like to ask this question. So what kind of challenges are there when we are self-employed? We are self-employed, we are an entrepreneur. Then it means you are your own boss, which means you have your own time when you work, when you go on leave, how many hours are you working and so on. You are your own boss, so nobody can tell you anything. The second one is you have your own schedule. If you want to work from 9 to 10 in the evening, or you want to work You first want to take the children to school and then start at 8 o'clock from your house where your business is, or you rent a place, doesn't matter, but you have your own schedule of how long the hours will be or how short the hours will be when you work. Then you must also consider the climate, the economic climate. So like I said with the second years, in this COVID time it is very difficult to get employment and especially to get customers. For the customers it's a question of how close is the business. Can you deliver? Can you bring the service to me? Can you bring the product to me? How is the product? How is it going to get to me? So all these things make a big influence. And then even many big companies are struggling financially because of COVID. So they have to lay a lot of people. They have to take the employees, and the employees have to work with fewer employees. So you as a self-employed or as an entrepreneur need to make sure that you also check the news in the evening and to see what the economic status in the country is. And then you must have a wide variety of skills. So because when you are your own boss, you need skills in tax. You need to know how to work out your tax. You need to know how to market your product. What kind of skills are you going to use? Are you going to use the internet, the newspaper, flyers, whatever? You need to know how to put where to get the money, how to get a loan, or are you going to work out of your pocket, or are you going to get family members to sponsor you, and how to budget your books. So you need a lot of skills. So you need to polish up on your skills all the time. So use the internet and make use of the internet so that you can polish up your skills all the time. Now we get to the lesson plan. Remember in the second year you did a lesson plan for grade 5s, né? And that those children just came from junior primary, and so you had to make all those things very playful for them. Like how will you sell your popcorn, how will you sell your ice in the neighborhood. But now you get to grade 6. Grade 6 and 7s are more mature now. They are almost the seniors in senior primary. So the same thing that we use in the second year, the same skills that we use in the second year, the same skills you will still use in senior primary. But now children will come up with ideas that are more mature than in grade 5. So let's get to the aim. The aim says you must prepare the learners to start their own business. So, or you can use another theme and say, okay, if you don't want to start your own business in the neighborhood by selling popcorn and chips and ice, what ideas can you come up with? And then they will bring the ideas to you. The objective is to empower them with the necessary knowledge and skills of how to start a small business. So because you did it in grade 5 with them, in grade 6 you will just use the same template, but they will come up with more mature ideas now. And for the introduction, you can ask them, how will you start a small business and where will you get the capital? Now they know already. I can ask my mom, or I can ask one of the family members, and I must give the money back. But now you must also open up other things to them and say, if you want to start a bigger business and you need more money, there's always places that you can get the money from. For example, if you go with your mom to a bank, like Bank Windhoek, for example, or FNB, they also give loans to children who will start their own business. But now, it is not just a question of what are you going to do. Now you need to write out a business plan, a simple business plan that your mom or your dad have to draw up for you and help you, so that when they ask you questions that you can answer the questions and give them ideas of how you are going to do it. So now the children are more mature if they want to start a business, and they also know from the start, from grade 5, that they must, all the profits that they make, they must put back in the business, so that later on they can also not just sell one product like chips or popcorn, but they can also start sell a variety of products that people are more interested in. And then for the body of the lesson, you use the same one. You can say you identify what kind of business do you want, but because now because of the business plan that they already took to Standard Bank or Bank Windhoek or FNB, now they already have an idea of what kind of business do they want to start. Now in the body, you can also tell them, for your conclusion, you must write advantages and disadvantages. Advantages is why do you think the business is important and why do you want to start it. Then they can say, okay, there's no such business in my area, so that is an advantage. The disadvantage is, if I start this business in my area, there's already 2 or 3 businesses like that, and that is not necessarily a disadvantage. That is also an advantage, because now they have competition in that street or in the area with the customers. For example, now they must think out of the box. They must think, okay, so this man across the street is selling his product for $2, and the man at the end of the street is selling his product for $4. So now I must think of, how can I sell my product, for example, for $3? But what do I need to add to bring the customers to me? So there are disadvantages and there are advantages that the children need to think of. And in grade 6, when you write the lesson plan out, you must also think, okay, there are no advanced children. So these children, what kind of challenge can I give them? Okay, they don't have to just think of a business plan, but they can write out a business plan, and they can also speak to business people in their area. These are not for advanced children. And when in a group, in the same class group, you also get slow learners, so they are not so sharp as the advanced learners, but they also need to be challenged. So how are you going to challenge them? Slow learners, you can say, okay, you don't have to think of 2 or 3 or 4 products. You can only think of 2 products. So what kind of products do you think you can sell? Oh, I know, ma'am, I can sell popcorn and I can sell ice. And then you will ask, okay, and then where are you going to sell it? No, I don't want to sell it in front of our house. I want to sell it in the house, because then I can use my mommy's fridge, and the ice will be frozen all the time. So those are the things that they can use and they can think of. Then we also get to remedial work. Remedial work is, there are children in the class that are advanced, and there are slow children, and there are children that have really big problems. Like, for example, they have maybe a language problem. They cannot speak the language. Maybe the neighborhood where he is coming from is only Afrikaans speaking, and the school is English speaking. So you need remedial work for those children. So you need extra classes for those children, just to help them with the basic English things, how to, for like vocabulary, and how to form sentences, how to write a simple business plans of only 3 or 4 sentences. But in a class, you will always get all 3 of these children, all 3 groups of these children. So you must never just concentrate on the weak, or just concentrate on the advanced learners. You must make room for all these children, because all of them are important, and in each class you will get all of them. Now we get to how employees' personal health affect the productivity. Now when we talk about your personal health, this is now about big companies. We are talking about, if personal health is are the person sick all the time? Must he stay at home? And how does it affect the productivity in the company? When we think of the first one is financial stress at home or at work. Now, if the person is not at work every day and is sick all the time, he only have so many sick leave days. And how does it affect his salary? How does it affect the work? Will the job give him off all the time? And if he's sick all the time and he lost half of for the half of the month he's not at work because he's just not looking after himself and he doesn't take safety precautions like using the mask or drinking his tablets when he's supposed to drink the medicine. So then the people at the job will say, no, but you will only get half your salary. So how will it affect his business, the family at home? Because now he can't pay all his accounts. So and at the same time, with the job where he is, the productivity also went down because he's not there all the time. So that will be very negative for him at home and also at work because he will be stressed all the time. The second one is job security. So if an employee is sick all the time and that employee must take sick leave all the time, it will also have an influence on his job. Because later on the people will say, no, you are more home than you are here. So then there's no job security. Because his medical aid is finished, he can't go, his salary is too little, he must now go to a state hospital or clinic and he must sit there for many hours and the job and the work cannot allow that, then they will rather get somebody else. And then the third one is the relationship and his marriage. The relationship with his colleagues at work will be negatively influenced and also his marriage at home, because now he can't provide for his children and his wife, and it will also work negatively on the relationship. Then the last one is the illness, for example, COVID or AIDS. So how will the illness work? Because most of the people, when I think now at school, most of the children lost one or other parent. And then with only one salary, now they must make due, because when two parents are there, they can share the bills, they can share the responsibility. But in this time of COVID and of AIDS, then it's very difficult. And later on, the job will just say, no, you are not there. So you must go because you are not productive, and then they will get someone else. So there are a lot of negative issues when a person is not at work and is not productive. Then next one is, how will we describe the uses of electricity in the home and also in the industry? So the first one is communication. When we think of communication and we think of electricity, when we think of we use electricity for the cell phone, for the computer, for the laptop, for most of the things we use electricity. And communication, we use it for communication at our work, because the computers must work, and the email must work, and that is now for the industry. When we think of home, is electricity, we use it for cooking and for watching movies, for ironing, and for all these things. The second one is in the industry, manufacturing, factories. So when we think of electricity, what does no factory or industry can work without electricity? Most things in the factory work with electricity. So electricity is very important. And then the third one is entertainment. When we think of the USB that we use in the computer, the CD player that use electricity, or the MP3 players for the music or for whatever. So entertainment also use a lot. Entertainment is not like places like Mnet, GoTV, those places. They also use electricity. And then when we think of home, we're thinking of the kettle, the television, heating the stove, microwave, and the fridge. Everything works with electricity. And then the last one is transport, trains and buses. When we in the morning when we drive from our neighborhood into town to come and work, we see on the buses it will say. There's a logo that will run, and it will say, oh, this bus is going to Oshimise, this bus is coming to Eros, or this bus is going to Cedro. So the buses are even using electricity, and the trains, mostly in Europe, you get electrical trains, electrical cars, and one of these days it will also come to Africa. So we can never do without electricity. And then, how will we explain the term live frugally? Now, when we look at the term live frugally, what does it mean? It means it is the practice of simplifying a product, or make it more efficient, or make it more effective. And especially in small, and it is not so expensive. When we think of that now, then there are 4 requirements: the awareness, the affordability, the availability, and the acceptability. Now, things that are frugal, and most of them we can, when we visit Chinatown, that is where we see all these things. When they use plastic, they make a product, like for instance, they make toys. The first one is awareness. They put on the plastic bag, they will say, this toy is for the age group of this, maybe 2, or maybe not, for 2 to 5 years old, because it can, like for instance, balloons, the children can they can swallow it. Affordability, when we go to Chinatown and we think, I see lots of things here. There's handbags and there's toys, and so everything is widely available, and it's also affordable because it is not so expensive, because it is made in China. Then acceptability is, how will people, when they visit Chinatown, how will they accept it? Will they say, yes, the prices are very low and I can buy it? Is it easily affordable? Is it available? Oh yes, and then lots of people go and buy there. That is now when we think of toys or any other household appliances. But now we must also, if we live frugally, we can also think of Hungry Lion, that has that on a Tuesday, they, for instance, they have buy one and get another one free. And when we think of Hungry Lion, and also lots of these places, they're fast food places, they also have these things that are available, it's not so expensive, and it's affordable, and so on. So when you live frugally, you must always think of, if you want to make your product you simplify your product, you make it more cost effective, it is easily available. So all these things has to do with live frugally. Live frugally is just, it's easily affordable, it's not so expensive, and it's everywhere and anywhere that you can open. For example, if you think now of Hungry Lion or Kentucky or things, you can open a Kentucky or Hungry Lion store anywhere, along the road where customers are going to work in the morning, or you make it when people are going from Windhoek, for example, to South Africa. They have lots of these outlets where people can sit and eat, or they can just order and then take it and eat in the car and things. So most of those places, they think frugally, né? They live frugally and they think frugally, because frugally means very easily available and it is not so expensive. That is all it is. And I like this question. You better make it. It's important. And next one is how to discuss the different reasons or the use of images in a marketing lesson. Marketing, I explained already, né? Is how you will market your product. Now the first one is quality, a quality product. No, so when you put a marketing lesson or you use images in a marketing lesson, is you must think of the quality of your product. Is your quality of a high standard or is it of a low standard? And then your marketing lesson will say what is it that people need and what is it that that customers want to have quality in this product, and why will people come back? Because the quality is good, the quality is bad, or the quality is not, is just average. The second one is information. In images you must also tell, when we talk about images, you talk about your product that you sell on the internet. So the information and the description of your product must be on such a level that people easily understand it. So you can either put a picture there that have all the information on the label, or you will just use short words to say, for example, if you have a product like hand lotion, you will say it is smooth, it is easily available, you can put it in your handbag, it is small, you can pack it in. So all these words will make your marketing lesson very effective, because then people can see what you have, and if you and then you can also advertise it on your product on the internet, on Facebook, Instagram, so that lots of people can have it will be available to lots of people, and it can increase your viewers. Then the last one is how to promote productivity. Is how easily is it available to everybody, and where can people get it, and why do people need to get it, and why is it important that they must give a feedback on the product. So these are all marketing lessons and skills that you need to know, and images that you need that you must include in your lesson plan also. You can also a marketing lesson and images, you can also use a computer, and you can also show the children slides so that they can also do a lesson on that they can come and present on a PowerPoint presentation. Maybe 2 or 3 of them can use it, or you can also use it when you are giving a lesson plan, and you can also put it on PowerPoint. Now the next one is the importance of a bar chart in class. Now when we have a bar chart, why is it important to have a bar chart? Bar chart is something that you make a chart, and you make different levels on them. You can use different colors so that people can see. For example, if you are going to put a bar chart on the computer to show parents how children are doing in for example in science, then you have a table at the bottom that's like visible, like the first one says, a visible display to compare the frequency of characteristics of the data. So you will, for example, say most of the children are in the green area, which means they need help. Then the next test, you show again the information of the test results. Now you say, okay, now we have the green. Some of them came out. Here are the test results. Some of them are blue. Those are the ones that are doing very well, and the ones that are just still struggling are in the red, and the ones that are green. So the parents can see, oh, my child is in this area, or maybe my child is in that area. Then they can you can also compare the groups, like the A class is better than the B class, and why are they better? Because they are using more visuals, and the B class is not so good because they are only making use of puzzles or pictures or so on. And then the parents know how to help the children at home. And then the next one is you make a generalization about the data. You will, for example, say, okay, now we have the A class, the B class, the C class, and the D class. Just look at the display that I put on of the and how does the different frequencies compare, or the marks, the test marks compare. And then if you want to find out about your own child, just call me and so on, so that the parents know. They can also get involved, and they can ask you how can they help their own children. And then the last one is to promote productivity. So you can use it in class with your tests, or you can also use it in your products that you use when you, for example, have a product that you want to advertise on the internet. So a bar chart is something that is very important in class. It can be important. You can also use it in a company, or you can use it anywhere. And you can also use it when you want to put different groups of children in different categories. For example, how will the boys results, how is it against the girls' results, and so on, so that you can also show the children who are the top 10 in the class, and what must the others do also to get into the top 10. You are just encouraging them so that they can see why it is necessary to study, and why is it necessary to read up or use Pinterest or use the internet to get information. So I will just stimulate them. Oops. And that is the end of my story. And my number is still the same, 081 644 2582 like last year. And the same hours still apply from Monday to Friday, from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. And then on Saturdays you can call me anytime, not 6 o'clock in the morning, please. And on Sundays you cannot contact me between 9 and 12, but from 2 o'clock then it's fine, anytime. Thank you so much.